Hey YouTube, Shukun Shinobi here with a review of the Figma Kamen Rider Dragonite from, well, Kamen Rider Dragonite. Okay, so here's the story with this. Figmas are made by Max Factory, the same people that make the Metacom toys, Project BM, things like that. So, Figmas are a very, very popular figure line, and these are actually absolutely no exception to that. These are fantastic figures, and I will cover that. These are labeled as SP Figmas, meaning that they aren't in the normal Figma count, they're specials. So, like when you pre-order from AmiAmi, that pre-order counts toward the total, and they make however many they need. That doesn't mean that there won't be a second run. There's always a possibility for that, but it just means that they're a little bit harder to come by after they're launched than other figures would. So, and also the only reason that they were able to get the license for Kamen Rider Dragonite is because it's not Ryuki. Bandai didn't automatically get the rights to it because it's an Adnus product rather than directly Toei. So Max Factor is able to get the license for Dragonite. So here we are. Figma right here, pretty much standard Figma box if anyone collects Figmas. The Dragonite symbol back here, right here, and back there. Really nice background to the entire box too. Kamen Rider Dragonite in katakana, Dorago, Naito, stuff like that. Dragonite there, and epic poses on the back, and then Figma right there. SP015 Dragonite. Alright, so here is the figure. I already took the liberty of attaching the drag visor. I'm going to get in a little bit closer here. I took the liberty to already attaching the drag visor. He comes packaged with this arm right here that doesn't have the hole. So I replaced it with the one that does and put in the drag visor already, as it was a slight bit of a pain. And then he comes standard with little fists. So yeah. Here's his head. Absolutely fantastic sculpt. I'm sure the figure art would probably be a little bit better in the head category, but in terms of the body, I'll get to that. Perfect 360 rotation, no real worries there. The neck doesn't move all that much, but that's fine. Perfect rotation on the shoulder. There is possibly a single joint right here. Yeah, that's a single joint that moves like a double joint. And same back here. This is a very odd ball knee thing here, but the way it works is that it's a single joint that just curls all the way back. So it gets the articulation of a double joint, but with a single joint. So that's always fun. His thighs are back here. You can't really see them. They're hidden fairly well by this rubbery plastic right here, and then his shin guards right here. And on the front here, it's covered by this rubber. You can see it. So if you fold it forward enough, the rubber does pop, and you can see the plastic inside. But the fact that they can cover up the thigh joints, which is always the ugliest looking joint on figures, with the rubbery suit is just absolutely great. It really makes the figure seem a lot like a Project BM figure, to be brutally honest. And then the belt here is just sculpted absolutely great as well. Honestly, these rival Figuarts like superbly. Like I can't even imagine that the Ryuki Figuarts are gonna beat these. So good luck, Bandai. Good luck. He comes with a crap ton of accessories, too. So, he comes with all of these hands right here. So he's got splayed open hands that are kind of like action-y. Just relaxed hands. Hands for gripping the swords or the guard vent. Card holding hand. I will show the card off in a second if I didn't lose it already. And a fist. The fist was the default on that hand, so that hand was actually the drag visor holding hand, but whatever. Little tiny card, what I do with you? I have no idea. It is so miniature that I already lost it. Let's move along then. Here is Strike Vent. It's an entirely separate arm, so I will show that off, but it opens. And then if you open up a little bit more, it snaps. So that's pretty neato. It does have a little bit of articulation too, but I think that's just the top piece coming off. So sculpted really well as well. Here is Sword Vent. Ever awesome. once again, also sculpted and painted absolutely beautifully. Like I said, I don't think Figuarts could beat these. And here is guard vent. There's two of them, but they're the same piece. So I will show off how to do those later. They are marked. This one is 1, I think, or L. Nope, that's just a mark. That doesn't show anything. They aren't marked at all. I'm just dumb. So here is guard vent, and that's all he comes with. Wing Knight obviously comes with his stuff too, but really there isn't anything else that he could come with. As far as Figmas go, all Figmas include this awesome bag that says Figma on it and a label for you to write, and it honestly would store the figure. Like, I'm pressing up against a figure right now. So it would easily store the figure and all of its parts, no problem. So it's really easy transportation method if you are the type that throws away boxes. And also they all come with a stand, something I wish Figuarts did for their price. Granted, it is a very tiny stand with Figma on it. It's not like a Dragonite logo or anything like that. But it's built almost exactly like a Tamashii stage. It plugs right into their back right here. There's a little hole on his back. It just pops right in there. So it's really, really easy to use. And the fact that every Figma comes with a little Figma stand is just, it's great, because a lot of these guys are going to require some pretty actiony poses. And having a stand with every one is just absolutely phenomenal. So, like I said, it's going to be hard for Figuarts to top these. Okay, so let's do some little bit of action here and try out Sword Vent. Bam! I was going to include the little Sword Vent clip, but I didn't want to be a total ripoff of Soundout's review. So, here he is with the Sword Vent. He holds it really well. There's a lot of mobility in the hand. The hands all plug in through this method, like some of the earlier Kiwamis and stuff. So they just plug in right that. It's really thin, so there is a good chance of breakage, so be careful with it. But it's really easy to switch out hands a lot easier than Figuarts. So once again, you can get a ton of range of motion with these. The feet are on a ball joint of sorts, but they're a little bit better to maneuver than the ball joints on newer Figuarts. So here's Dragonite with Sword Vent being all pretty badass and such like that. So now to show off Strike Vent, I won't take it off screen just because it's actually slightly important. You just take this entire arm section off and just pop this one right in there. It's a little bit resilient. It's a lot harder to do than in fact, that happens a lot. So just kind of wiggle it in there. And the rest I'll do off screen because it's being a bitch. And here is Strike Vent. It wasn't really that hard to get in there in retrospect, but it's in there now, so yay. I do need to glue that, though. That's the head popping off thing is kind of detrimental. But once again, really, really awesome. And now for Guard Vent. Okay, so there is these little clippy things. They plug into Guard Vent right here. And then that piece plugs in right on his wrist. Right about there. And those just clip in. So here's his little Guard Vent thing. For this arm, obviously you can do it for both arms. It just requires you take off the drag visor in order to peg it into his wrist like that. But I think when he did this one, he might have never used to. I don't really remember. But he does look really, really cool with the Guard Vent, considering Guard Vent's, well, yeah, Guard Vent. And then there's a second way to do Guard Vent, which requires you to pull his entire arm assembly off. And by entire arm assembly, I pretty much mean the entire arm assembly. Like, this entire thing has to come off. That's not quite what I had in mind, but I guess it works. Sort of, and actually it doesn't work. What you need to do, I won't film it because it's just going to take too long. You need to separate this piece right there. And then pop this off. I guess I lied. Alright, what you're going to want to do is take one of these, and they just kind of plop right in here somehow. kind of like that. And then take this piece back and push it in, and you get the complete arm assembly again. Just like that. And then pop his shoulder back in. Everything kind of fits back in really well on this guy, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. And then take this piece off, and then just plug that in right up here at the second hole. And there is his arm guard vent. I won't do the other one just to save some time since this is already running pretty long. But you can get a good idea of how things work. And here he is with both of his shoulder-mounted guard vents. So you can pretty much do anything. I mean, you can still, if you change this hand around, you can still give him sword vent, strike vent, and guard vent all at the same time, which is just kind of a big cluster. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like I said, all of the weapons are really, really detailed. Like I said many times in this review, it's just one fantastic figure. Like I said, I just love the way that it hides the joints so well. The joints are very fluid. The positions are really human-like. It's just, there's some things here that you just can't get with Figuarts, and the detail, oddly enough, is one of them. All of the weapons are superbly detailed. It really isn't a detail missed. And these just look like some of the best 5-inch scale figures I've ever seen. And plus the little hand holder is really neato too. So if you're a fan of Dragonite, if you liked it, I definitely recommend getting these. Particularly because these actually are the Dragonite releases and not the Ryuki releases. So if you're a fan of Dragonite, definitely get these. Don't skip them. Don't miss them. It's definitely worth the with the price tag. Particularly if you buy it from AmiAmi. I'll put a link in the description. They're fantastic figures. If you're afraid of falling down the rabbit hole, as Vangelis likes to put it, just get the ones you want. Do your best. But it really is hard to resist these figures once you own one of them. They're just really that great. So I definitely recommend it. So stay tuned for Wing Night. Until then, you can check out a written review and the podcast at ridersrangersandrambles.com. Check out my personal blog at shukunshomi.wordpress.com. And check me out on Twitter at shukunshinobi. So take care and have a great one. Bye. Bye, Vent.